All right, what's going on, y'all? What's up? It's me. All right, y'all. So, y'all see the title. The title of this stream is Breaking You Down for the Dusties. And I thought I had to do this because everybody's been talking about the viral video that Kevin Samuels did. And it's something to behold, guys. Okay. I wanted to weigh in my thoughts on the situation because I recognize my phenotype. I recognize my phenotype. So when I saw the viral video of the young, dark-skinned black woman who is, a six-figure earner, and all she wants is somebody who pretty much makes the same, if not more, of what she makes, and she's calling into Kevin's show to get advice on how to attract men of her same caliber. And well, she gets torn down and told that she doesn't qualify for what she's asking for because she's average at best. And so you all know that my channel, and if you read the description of my channel, this is a channel for the average, everyday black woman. I don't know why I'm getting a phone call right now. But this is a channel for the average, everyday black woman. So, everyone is pretty much average. You're not going to really find too many above average looking people, period, male or female. So for Kevin to tell this woman that she's too average to qualify for what she wants is quite disingenuous. But I'm going to get into that. But first, let me go ahead and say hello to all my faithfuls, all my faithful people that come in here. Gia Girl, Lisa Norman, Chaz B98, Love Wisdom, Slayer Jim. Hello to all of you. And Al Banks, I have not forgotten you as well. So let's get into it, okay? Because there's a lot to unpack with that Kevin Samuels situation. All right, so the reason why I decided to come on here cammed up is because I want you all to see me, okay? This is me, okay? I am the representative of that average, everyday black woman, okay? The representative, as well as this woman that called into Kevin's show. The difference between me and the woman that called into Kevin's show is that I do not need to seek outward validation or ask toxic black men to rate me on their scale. And when I say their scale, I mean their scale of 1 to 10. Because see, when you have toxic men, they are never, ever going to tell you that you're beautiful. They're never, ever going to tell you that you're worthy of anything. These toxic men are always going to groom you to think that you're less than so that you can qualify for the Dusties. They're grooming you for the Dusties. Now, me, I'm a woman that looks at numbers. I'm a woman that pretty much thinks outside the box, and I am a woman that pretty much pays attention to trends. So now already, if we're already outnumbered by our men, well, we're already outnumbering our men, meaning that there are more of us than there are of them. If we're already more educated than our men, meaning that 9 times out of 10, there's going to be more of us making more money than our men. If we're already in a position where our men are not all 6-figure earners, we only have about maybe 10% of black men that fall even into that category. So if we already know this, why are we going to the likes of men like Kevin Samuels for validation? See, my problem isn't necessarily with Kevin Samuels. My problem is with the low self-esteem of the average, everyday black women that call into his show looking for validation. Looking for validation from who? The very person that tells you you're nothing, you're nobody. Now, as I watch this video, and I know quite a few people have pointed this out, This woman stated herself as she was coming onto Kevin's panel and kissing his ass. She says she loves his show. So that statement right there tells me that this idiot watched his show. This idiot understands what he does to Black women, and yet she called in anyway. How many of you don't think that this is a little suspect? Even though I do know that there are some fools out there, but every time there's some idiot calling into his show, just a glutton for punishment, standing in line to get kicked in the tail. And this is the problem that I have with these women. The problem that I have with these women is these women have it going on. Okay, they're what society would consider average looking. There may be a 5, they may be a 6 or whatever as far as looks in the face, according to society. But this woman that I saw, the woman that's in the thumbnail of my video here, this is a lovely woman. She's a good looking woman. There, to me, she's above average. She's got beautiful skin. She's in shape, and she has a nice demeanor. She didn't have an ugly a demeanor about herself at all. So for Kevin Samuels to sit up here and downrate this woman and tell her what it is that she qualifies for, to me, is disingenuous. He's not even giving her all her options. He's telling her that she has to either settle for an average guy or die alone. That's what he said, or die alone. Settle for average or die alone. And see, this is the thing that I want to point out. The whole dying alone threat that they like to throw out there. They always make it seem as if you being by yourself is the worst thing that could ever happen to you. Oh, and by the way, she's a single mother, so she's damaged goods. Just look at all the different ways that his talk and his rhetoric is breaking her down. But who is he breaking her down for? Because he's already telling her that she can't have a high value man. He's already telling her what she qualifies for and what she doesn't qualify for. So basically, he's telling her, oh, just settle for someone average because you don't qualify for what you want. You don't qualify for that man that makes just as much as you. You don't qualify for that man who has achieved just as much as you have achieved. I mean, who the hell are you to go out here and achieve the things that you have achieved and then expect that of your mate? Who in the hell are you, Black woman? You average looking Black thing, you. How dare you want what you yourself are? Now let me just make this clear. She was not asking for anything that she herself isn't. She didn't say that the man had to be a 9 or a 10. She just says that she wants a man who makes around the same amount of money as she does, meaning that she wants someone who's on her level. I don't think that she was asking for anything out of what she should be asking for. But yet, Kevin Samuels and people of his ilk will tell this beautiful, chocolate, dark-skinned woman that she has to settle for average. They will tell her that, and they will try to make women like her believe it, preying on your low self-esteem so that they could get you set up. They're pretty much setting you up, getting your mind set up that you have to settle for less. They're getting your mind set up that you have to take what is less than even what you bring to the table. This woman brings all types of beautiful things to the table. She's a beautiful woman. She's well accomplished. And yet they're telling her that she has to date down. That's essentially what Kevin Samuels said to this woman yesterday. Date down. So they're grooming you for the Dusties. This is what is going on. And like I said, it's no different than what went on in the black neighborhoods with young black girls when we would walk back and forth to school, and we would have these dusty Negroes standing on the corner catcalling us. And if you did not respond the way they wanted you to, they began to tear down at your self-esteem and say things like, well, you're ugly anyway. I don't want you anyway. Don't nobody want you anyway. You should be glad that I tried to holler at your old ugly black ass anyway. This is no different than that. Let me just make this completely clear so you guys can get a picture, because I've been saying this for years. They're not doing the cat calling as much anymore on the street. Now they have taken to doing it on social media. And if you don't respond the way that they want you to respond on social media, they will tell you that you don't qualify anyway. You're too ugly anyway, even though they have tried to holler at you. Pay attention. So, in knowing this and in dissecting all of this, why would any black woman, whether she be light skinned, brown skinned, dark skinned, average, or above average, why would any black woman look to these toxic black men for validation? Stop it. Stop looking to these toxic black men to validate you. If you know within yourself that when you get up in the morning and you put yourself together, that you look good, and you go out there and you get a positive reaction from the world, that is your validation within itself. You do not need validation from these men. I don't have any problem when I go out into the world getting any type of man to be interested in me, whether they're white, black, Hispanic, high value, low value. As long as I put care and love into myself, I'm always going to get a positive reaction from the world. And so this is the self-validation that you need to have within yourself, knowing what your own value is. You do not need toxic men to give you that validation. Now, I was listening to a broadcast earlier from Chrissy and Dee Durrell, and they both had wonderful points that they put across. And I want you guys, after listening to me, of course, and please don't forget to hit that like button on the way in, but do go to Dee Durrell channel and go listen to Chrissy. They broke this down in the most eloquent way possible. But ladies, I'm going to put a little something extra, a little extra spin on it, because see, I am a average looking, dark skinned black woman who turns her camera on, and I'm confident in doing so. I have gotten negative feedback and I have gotten positive feedback. But guess where Faith goes? Faith goes where she is wanted. If I get negative feedback, I don't care, because if you don't want me, guess what? I'm not checking for you either. And I probably wasn't checking for you before you open your mouth. So the negative feedback does not bother me. You go where you are wanted and appreciated. And this is where, I part ways with some sisters who have very low self-esteem. If you don't have enough self-esteem within yourself to say, hey, you know what? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I have seen women who swear up and down that they are above average, and they are not everybody's cup of tea. I have seen some YouTubers on here with the sexy body and everything else, and black men have criticized them. To be honest with you, I think Cynthia G is a very attractive black woman, and she gets both criticism and praise. But one thing that I can at least say about Cynthia, she knows her worth. She knows that she's a beautiful woman, and she don't let the naysayers get to her. All throughout life, you're not going to always get positive feedback. This is what I want each and every one of you within the sound of my voice to understand. Whether you are a 10 or whether you are average or below average, you're not always going to get positive feedback. Never. You even Beyonce, the singer Beyonce, some people say that she's not all that. So if people can sit up here and criticize the likes of Beyonce, who most people would say is a 10, then what do you think is going to happen to you? Do you think you're going to always get positive feedback? Hell no. But knowing within yourself what your strengths are and you putting your best foot forward every day, and knowing that you are enough, and knowing that you are going to go where you are loved and appreciated, and knowing that you are not going to pay the naysayers any attention. Because see, as sure as shit stinks, as sure as shit stinks, the same way that there are women that want to be seen, want to be heard, want to be validated, there are men that want to be seen, want to be heard, and they want to spew out their negative opinion regardless to whether it was solicited or not. Now, by that woman going on to Kevin's show and soliciting his opinion, she got everything that she deserved, especially knowing what he's about. She knew what he was about. Now, she went on his show to get what? His honest assessment. And I want you guys to understand what I'm saying when I say his honest assessment. She went on the show to get validation from Kevin. And let me tell you guys something. Beauty is very, very subjective. There are some men that will look at me and say I'm beautiful. And then there are other men that will look at me and say I'm not beautiful. But that's up to each person to determine. The men that will celebrate faith and say that faith is beautiful, well, that is the man that faith is going to give her time and attention to. Why would I give my time and attention to someone who has told me that they don't celebrate me and that they don't think that I'm beautiful? This is common sense 101. This is common sense 101. 101. You go where you are celebrated. And trust and believe, for every person that doesn't think that you're a dime, there's at least 2 or 3 people that thinks he's crazy. Exactly, Chaz. Chaz says that Black women have to stop allowing themselves to be conned at this point. And that's exactly what it is, a con. They are monetizing your low self-esteem and vulnerabilities. This is what they're doing. They're making money off of your low self-esteem and your vulnerability. Let me see what else you guys are saying down here in the chat. Shy Lovely says, right, Faith, that's like women calling into Tommy's show seeking validation. Same difference, shaking my head. Hi, chat. Thank you, Shy Lovely. And thank you for those of you saying that I'm beautiful. I appreciate that. I love being celebrated, so I appreciate all the compliments that you guys are giving me here. My Sassery one says, I wouldn't say you are average. Remember, we aren't looking at the true version of people nowadays with all these filters. That is true. I don't use filters when I cam up. I don't know how to use the cam up filters. If anyone can show me what a cam up filter looks like, I would love to look 20 again. I would love to. Let's see what else you guys are saying. And yes, even if you don't receive attention, you are still worthy. Exactly. Gia Girl says, Black men, grown Black men, age-wise and knee pain-wise, harass Black women on the street that they don't find attractive. Exactly. And I've never really understood that, by the way. Now, to me, if I did not find a man attractive, if I wasn't particularly interested in a guy, that is not the guy that I would be giving any type of attention to. So these guys are weirdos that they would give attention to women that they don't deem to be attractive. Like, if I don't deem a man to be attractive or worthy of my attention, I'm not going to dedicate a live stream. I'm not even going to dedicate a comment in a comment section to that guy, because I'm going to dedicate my time and attention to guys that I'm attracted to or that I deem worthy. But that was a good assessment. And Slayer Jim says you could definitely find yourself alone due to death anyway. Exactly. You are born here in this world by yourself, unless you are a twin or a triplet or a quadruplet or something like that. And you're going to die alone. You're going to die alone whether or not you're married to somebody or not, unless you take your significant other out with you. So, this whole notion of dying alone and all of this type of stuff, you guys, I hope that nobody is taking Kevin Samuels seriously. He is not a licensed psychiatrist, first of all. And to D. Darrell's point, he does say that Kevin does ask women to, get counseling. But D. Darrell also, to his point, because he is a licensed therapist, he has stated that he would not tell a woman to seek therapy in order to get a relationship. So once again, Kevin Samuels is being disingenuous, even in him telling women to seek therapy. That to me is just another misogynistic way of gaslighting. Pretty much letting these women know that, hey, I'm not qualified to tell you this, but I'm going to qualify myself by giving this disclaimer that you should get therapy. And then I'm going to go back to being my toxic, misogynistic self. These women, I really wish, I can't control what you all decide to do, but I really do wish that a lot of you would stop seeking outward validation from toxic people. If you're going to get your outward validation, because what Christy said in her video is correct. We as people, we need outward validation. Self-esteem does not grow in a capsule. When we have our children, we teach our children to have high self-esteem. Like when my son was young and he wanted to play football, he would throw his little Nerf ball and he would hit trees and he would hit me in the butt and hit his sisters upside the head, and he was hitting everything, but instead of catching, he was hitting more than he was catching. And I would instill self-esteem in him and tell him, hey, you know what? That was a good throw. Oh, wow. You know what? That was the best fumble on the catch I've ever seen. You instill self-esteem in your children. So it doesn't grow in a capsule. It's something that is cultivated. So you do need some sort of outward validation. And so I would validate my children every chance I get, because I know that raising children with healthy self-esteem is important. And every adult needs healthy self-esteem. But the thing about it is, I also teach my children that you are going to have disappointments. So in trying to instill confidence and self-esteem, it would also behoove you not to teach your children that they also will encounter disappointments in life. And sometimes a disappointment in life would be kids teasing you and calling you names and saying things to you that are not quite kind. You have to let your children know that there are people in this world who are not nice, people in this world who are not kind. And you prepare them basically to deal with the assholes in life. But what I am seeing is there are a lot of young Black women and a lot of older Black women, especially of my color, who have not been prepared to deal with these assholes in life. They have not been prepared to deal with disappointment. They have not been prepared to deal with rejection in life. And part of being a mature, healthy adult, a mature, healthy adult, is being able to navigate this life through all of it, the good and the bad. You can't navigate through life expecting everyone to praise you and say that you're beautiful and tell you all these wonderful things that you want to hear. You're not going to go through life hearing everything that you want to hear positive about yourself. There are going to be people out there that are going to try to tear you down. And that too is part of character building. Knowing when someone is coming to you out of love and being constructive, and knowing when someone is coming to you out of hatred and trying to tear you down. That is part of being an adult. And when you're able to discern who you're dealing with, the person that has your best interest at heart, that's constructively criticizing you in a loving way, or the person who doesn't have your best interest at heart and they're trying to tear you down. You have to be prepared to deal with both in this world, because you are going to encounter all of that. All of that. Growing up, I have encountered the most loving, most kind people I ever want to deal with. My parents, my father, my uncles, my brothers. These are men in my life that helped instill self-esteem in me, that always told me that I was beautiful. I remember, I think I told a story a long time ago where my uncle LJ saw me coloring in a Barbie doll coloring book. Back in my day, we had those Barbie doll coloring books. And I was coloring every doll tan, just all across the board, tan, tan, tan. And one day my uncle saw me coloring my Barbie dolls and he said, "Hey, Faith, what color are you using?" And I said, "Oh, Uncle Lloyd, I'm using tan." And he said, "Okay, put the crayon up to your face." And I put the crayon up to my face. And he said, "What color are you?" And I looked at the tan crayon and I looked at my face and I said, "Well, I'm a dark brown." He said, "Well, how come you don't color some of the Barbies your color?" He said, "You're beautiful too." And so in doing that, he gave me the darkest brown crayon in that Crayola box. And I began to color some of the animations the same color as me. I began to make their hair the same color as my hair. And you know what that did? At first, I felt like I was doing something wrong, that I was making them ugly. But the more my uncle praised how they looked, he told me, "They're beautiful. They look just like you. They're beautiful." And then that made me want to color and make them even more extravagant and beautiful. I started putting poof balls in their hair, drawing around the long hair and making poof balls that look more like my hair at the time. And that was my uncle instilling that self-esteem in me at a young age. This is what we have to do with our young Black girls. We have to instill the self-esteem in them at a young age. Then I remember coming home from school when I was 14. And I remember a group of guys following me home. And one of the guys, they were trying to talk to me, but I was not allowed to talk to any boys at the time. I was not allowed to have boyfriends, and I wasn't allowed to talk to any boys in the neighborhood. So it wasn't that I was being stuck up, but I would get in trouble if I talked to any of those guys. And so I would just politely say hello, but keep on going. But because I would not give those guys my energy, they began to call me names. I was every black this, skinny that, because I was real skinny at the time, don't have no body, and all this type of stuff. And by the time I got home, the tears were covering all down here, my neck, on my chest. I was crying that much because they had really, really tore me down. And when I walked through the door, my eyes all red and all them tears coming down my eyes. My dad asked me what was wrong. and I told him what those boys had done. And my dad began to, how can I say, he began to logically break things down to me as to what happened. He didn't tell me to just get over it, because every moment in my household was a teaching moment. My father said, okay, what is the rules of this house? I said, well, I'm not to have any boyfriends and I can't talk to boys. He said, right. He said, so you were doing what you were supposed to do. He said, but because you wouldn't talk to them, what did they do? And then I started thinking, I said, well, they started calling me out my name. He said, right. It's not because that you were ugly. He said, because if you were ugly, they wouldn't try to talk to you in the first place. And my father had the gift of logically breaking things down. And he began to give me the tools to navigate through this world logically so that I can navigate my emotions and I can understand the different people that exist in this world. There are some adults that have not gotten the gifts that I've gotten growing up. And I understand that. There are some adults that don't understand that you are going to be in this world with all kinds, all kinds. And you have to be strong. You have to have a tough skin. You have to know within yourself that you are worthy. And you have to know when a toxic person is just trying to tear you down because they are not getting what they want from you. Those guys were not getting what they wanted from me. And similarly with Black women who are achievers. If you say that you don't want to deal with a guy who isn't an achiever like you, you're going to be punished by those guys because you're not doing what they want you to do. So them telling you that you don't qualify, you're not good enough, these are all excuses for them not qualifying. These are all excuses for them not being good enough for you. Peep the game. Always have your game head on. Break out of the matrix. You do not need their validation. Now, if you know on any other day with your fine chocolate self, and I'm talking about the young lady in my video with her fine chocolate self, because she was a fine young chocolate woman, even if she was a single mother, and she had herself well put together. But there are men that would love to have her, but they know they don't qualify. So the first thing they do, knowing that they don't qualify, is they have to get her to lower her standards so that they can qualify. It's the same way as if you go to the flea market and there's an item for sale, but it costs too much. You don't have enough money in your bank account to buy it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to haggle to see if the people who are selling will lower their price so that you can afford it. Don't let anyone barter with you about your value. You know your value, and the price is the price. And whether you want to raise or lower it is up to you. Now, there are some people that will shame you for lowering the price. But if you feel that the person that you are lowering the price for is worthy, that's up to you to decide. There's no man or woman on this earth that can tell Faith who she should be with if I don't want to be with her. If I want to be with this guy, who are you to tell me that I can't be with this guy? I'm this old and I'm sitting up here looking to you all for validation. I will never be sitting up here looking to any other adult for validation of what I do in my personal life, especially who I decide to be with. And that is the same thing that I want to convey to the rest of you out there. You should not ever, 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 ever be sitting up here looking to another grown man or woman for validation over who or what you decide that you want to be with. That is up to you. Let me see what's going on down here in the comment section. Oh, okay, sister Scorpio has sent me a $10 cash app. She said, we are seeking dangerous moves that are bringing harm to our ladies, and it is becoming a sideshow. Arm yourselves, ladies. Exactly. Thank you, Sister Scorpio. Gia Girl says, I don't expect black men or any man to say nor tell me I'm beautiful, but it doesn't give them the right to harass me either if they don't find me attractive. Exactly. Sister Scorpio again says, it can be very hard for sisters to move through this world without some form of disrespect. I remember those days as well. Now they are attacking and killing girls at an alarming rate. Yes, keep your self-esteem up and love yourself first. All right. And Shy Lovely says, I agree. It's becoming extremely dangerous for Black women. It's not enough that Black women are being attacked from all angles, social media, TV, music, in-person harassment, and being killed. And Joe Whitfield says, I most definitely would not be looking to social media for validation or admiration. Exactly, Joe. And Joe, you know, this is coming from a man, by the way, and he's a married man. So, you know, take heed. You know, Joe is not a toxic black man. Joe is, for as long as I've been knowing him, he has been a very positive person in these YouTube streets and social media. I've never witnessed Joe attacking a black woman, trying to tear her down or anything of that nature. What's up, BMT? He says, I like your glasses. Thank you. Shy Lovely says, looking for validation from people is giving them the green light to control your life. Exactly. Exactly. And that's one thing you're not going to get from me. I have decided a long time ago that I'm going to pick and choose who I have in my close inner circle. The people that I sit and break bread with are people who I respect and who respect me. If you're sitting around people because you think that they're part of the popular group, they're part of the in crowd, so to speak, you still have a very juvenile, immature mindset that you would subject yourself to people who do not have your best interest at heart. Why would you even allow these people into your personal inner circle? I remember I did that when I was in high school. You know, you wanted to be part of the in crowd, so you hung out with some people that you didn't really like, really. I mean, these were people that I didn't particularly care for, but because they were popular, I wanted to be around them, even though they didn't make me feel as if I was valued or respected. When you do that, you devalue yourself. Every time that you interact with these people, a little tiny piece of yourself will die. And so then your self-esteem chips away slowly because you're doing things for their validation rather than being around people who already see something in you, being around people that already respect you, being around people that add value to your life. And you have the power to pick and choose. You know, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all wake up in the morning and we be surrounded by friends that love us, genuinely love us? Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could wake up in the morning and you get a phone call from people that you allow in your inner circle that actually respect you as a person, and they feel that you add value to their lives and you add value to theirs? They're asking you for your advice on certain things that you have expertise in because they value your opinion and you value theirs. Not because you think that they're popular, not because you think that they have some kind of it factor that's going to propel you forth in life, which it never does, but because you genuinely and mutually have a mutual love and respect for each other. You have total control over that. You have total control over who you allow in your inner circle and in your inner psyche, your inner spirit. Yes, love wisdom. It's a beautiful feeling when you actually have those type of people in your corner. So rather than wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard, and this is what I get from the young lady that went on Kevin Samuels' show the other day. She knew what his platform was all about, but it was more important for her to be seen. It was more important for her to be heard, because I don't think that she's ever had that in her real life. I don't know this woman, but most of the time when people are looking for outward validation from toxic individuals that they know are toxic, they're not getting that on a regular basis in real life. So therefore, any form of attention is currency to these people. And if you're at that point where any attention is currency, well, you're going to be like the young lady that was shown on video simulating a sexual act with a duck, because attention is currency, whether it be negative or positive. All attention is not good attention. And you can actually get positive reinforcement from people that you handpick in your life that actually give a damn about you for real. And you have to know when a person is real in your life and when a person is fake. And that's what I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see that there are a lot of Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women. We have gotten to the point where any attention is good attention, because we feel like we are unworthy. We've been told that we are the bottom of the barrel, that no one wants us. We're not as good as this light bright person or non-Black person. We've been told this for so long that we began to just say, hey, forget it. You know what? I'm just going to go for any attention that I can get. Yes, cool gent. That lady went on his show and she embarrassed herself. Because like I said, I'm not even mad with Kevin Samuels anymore, because he's going to do what he do. He's going to be that misogynist. He's going to be that toxic woman hating individual that he is. You know, and watching his material, that much is not going to change. And I don't understand why we are looking for advice from a two-time divorcee who is in his 50s, that's not even making the type of money that he says high value men should make himself. But we never consider the source. A lot of these people, a lot of these so-called styling coaches, life coaches, relationship coaches, they're not living the lifestyle that they impose on others. I don't see any of them in any long-term meaningful relationships of their own. They don't have any long-term meaningful relationships even in the past under their belt. I've had 2 long-term meaningful relationships that I've had in the past under my belt. So I do understand what love is, what compromise is, and what it takes to, make to keep something going for a long term. But you ask these so-called relationship coaches, what's the longest relationship they've been in, and it's less than 5 years. If a person can't stand to be with you for 5 years or more, something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong. And if you sit up here and you're disingenuous about that yourself, and then you turn around and you mislead the masses as if you got all the answers and you don't. All I got to say is let the buyers beware, because they're going to be buying that advice from somebody who doesn't have the same success on their own. And that's pretty sad. Yes, underground steeds, hurt people hurt people. And yes, cool gent, most of these dating coaches are frauds. They never talk about building families. But that's the reason why, at the end of the day, I always tell women, especially young Black women, get to know yourself first, get to know your likes and dislikes so that you can start building your qualifications. Your likes and your dislikes are going to change as you begin to, how can I say, hit certain plateaus in life. Like when you graduate from high school, the same thing that you liked when you were 18 is not going to be the same thing that you're going to like at age 25. And then at age 25, as you begin to graduate from college or trade school, or, advance on your job and begin to make more money, the same things that you like at 25 are not going to be the same things that you're going to like when you're 30. So it's between 25 and 30 that you begin to get that self actualization. I think the biggest mistake that a lot of us make is that we start getting into these long-term commitments without first knowing who we are and self-actualizing ourselves. We don't first cultivate ourselves and get to know who we are as people. Because here's the thing, you run out here and you start dating, and you don't even know that you're allergic to seafood. You don't even know that you don't like a certain thing done a certain way every day for the rest of your life. And then you're out here getting with these people, not having even found yourself, not even knowing who you are, but you expect these other people to get it together the first time they get with you. You expect these other people to complete you, and you haven't even completed yourself. So now you're sitting up here talking about oh, you know what? This guy, he had better know that I like to, go out and travel, and I like to, work out, and I'm an active person and all this type of stuff. And this person's a couch potato and he doesn't like to do anything. He's in the house all the time. I got to see his face every day. Well, guess what? If you had taken the time to get to know yourself, if you had taken the time to find out that you're an active person and you like the person that you're with to also be active, you wouldn't be wasting that person's time. Because see, you want to sit up here and you want to make it seem like that person is wrong for being themselves, but you're right for being who you are. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. It's okay for both of you to be yourselves, but you're wrong if you know that this is a thing that you like and you get with this person knowing how they are, and then you expect them to change. You're never ever supposed to expect another person to change, because you are who you are. If you like what you like, then find someone who is compatible for you. Don't try to change the other person and rearrange them and mold them into what you want them to be. And that's what I see a lot of these relationship coaches trying to do with a lot of women. Now, not only do they try to lower the self-esteem of Black women, but then I also see them shaming a lot of these women, trying to mold them into these perfect women that they want them to be. Now, I don't do this often, but I'm just going to real quickly step back and stand up in the camera. This is me. This is me. Okay. Now, the other day, I got on the scale. Okay. And you saw me. You saw me just stand up. I'm not a fat woman. I'm not an out of shape woman. However, I am an overweight woman. by the BMI chart standards. The other day I got on the scale and it says I weigh 191 pounds. Once again, Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels. This is 191 pounds. Hello. And the guy that I'm with, he never knew how much I weighed. Okay. And so he was under the impression that I was no more than 150. He thought that I was 150 pounds, but I'm a whole 191 pounds. Well, that's because Faith is not a short woman. I'm not short at all. And so when a lot of these guys sit up here and they talk about this whole size 6, I am a size 14. Yes, this dress that I have on is a 14. Okay? Faith don't look like Faith don't look like she's 191 pounds. But if I were to sit up here and tell these guys I'm 191 pounds, they would expect me to look like the New Year's blimp. But I don't. And also, being a Black woman, I'm active. I'm in the gym, I walk, I run, I'm in and out of that truck all day, I'm pumping heavy freight all day. So a lot of my weight is muscle, and muscle is more compact than fat. And being a Black woman, my mother is more of an African heritage. We are very, very muscular people anyway. So when we sit up here, you sit up here and you say that every woman has to be a size 6, by whose standards? By whose BMI chart? We as descendants of Africans, we have a very, very unique and athletic body build. And I keep trying to tell everyone, you cannot compare the Black woman's physique to that of the white woman's. Even when we age, we don't age the same way as other groups of women do. Now, I'm of an advanced age, but I get told all the time that I look much younger than I actually am, and I'm a grandmother. You're looking at a grandmother. So, in closing, because I'm not going to make this video too long, I just wanted to address the Kevin Samuels video real quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, I want the gentlemen to understand that, you should never allow another man to dictate to you what your standard of beauty is. And that's what I see going on here. I see other men trying to shame other men for what they like. There are a lot of men that love a BBW woman, especially Black men. The majority of Black men do not want a woman who is a size 6. I can attest to that. Okay. So if you're looking at high value Black men, the reason why you see a lot of Black men with overweight to obese women is because they pretty much prefer that phenotype. But because of the shaming, but because of other men trying to dictate to other men what makes their penis hard, they'll sit up here and kowtow to a manosphere, or I'm not going to say manosphere, to a demographic of men who are lonely and alone themselves and don't have no women knocking down their door. Sister Scorpio says only dogs want bones. Thank you, Sister Scorpio. Thank you so much. And like I said, size 14 really isn't that big of a size for Black women. Now I have seen other demographic of women at a size 14, and I have to say they wear it a little bit differently than we do. Some of them are just as fit and in shape as Black women, but the average Black woman, and here we go, Because see, average, when they say average looking women, even the average black woman is more above average than a lot of these other groups of women. But see, they will gaslight through that factoid. Now, me being average, being my average self, I'm more above average than the average woman who is non-black, who is my age, who is a grandmother. If you go and look into the white group and you put my picture next to a grandmother of my age going on 50, a white woman or a Hispanic woman, my age going on 50, faith is going to be above average and superior to those women. And that is what a lot of these toxic men will not tell you. And see, I live out here where the population of black to white is 6%. There isn't a whole lot of black people out here where I live. So most of the time I'm in the room with white women and other non-black women of my age category, and they're wondering how come Faith's titties are still perky. They're wondering where Faith wrinkles are. They're wondering how Faith is a grandmother and she still looks like she's in her late 20s, early 30s. They're running around here with gray hairs, humpbacks, saggy skin, and bodies. So I am proud to be an average black woman, because being an average black woman means that I'm above average to every other woman out here. That's what they won't tell you. But with that, I will say that to the men, don't allow other men to dictate to you what your standard of beauty is, because they will have you missing out on a good thing because you are trying to satisfy their penises and not your own. And ladies, keep in mind that what they are calling average, everyone else thinks you are above average. I can attest to that. I am living out here in a state where there's nothing but non-black people. And I keep getting told over and over again outside of the black race that I am above average to these other women. And I already know that. So nothing that any of these Negroids can tell me will ever compete with my real life experience. But at any rate, I'm going to have to go ahead and end this stream. But I want to thank everybody that came in here. Miss Uppity Unicorn, Love, Wisdom, Cool Gent, and all the people that I have not said their names. Doug, Underground Steves. I appreciate all of my faithfuls for coming in. And also remember to stay tuned. Probably every weekend night, I do the Dark Side of Dating with CK. And this is a new series that we're starting on this channel and on his channel. So you guys stay tuned. And don't forget to watch the last episode of the Dark Side of Dating. And do give us your feedback. Let us know how you liked it. And with that, I'll have to say, I'm out.